This episode of XIV Reborn is brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial, head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker. You get a free month and a free audiobook.
Gamebreaker TV.
Internet, Magic Man here from Gamebreaker TV. Welcome to episode 33 of XIV Reborn for April 8th, 2014. We've got a special one for you. You've seen it on Twitter. You've seen it on XIV Nation. We've solicited your questions, and today is the magic day. We're very appreciative and very thankful to have some special guests with us today. But first, joining me, as he always does, Mr. Happy Brand, Michael POVEROMO.
But first, this other guy. He's not the important one. We'll just move on past that guy. Don't worry.
Yes,
I'm doing good.
He's here. He's going to be asking some questions too.
Yeah.
But our guests of honor, indeed, you've seen their names all over the forums. It's the XIV community team. We've got Mr. Robert Peeler on the left, Matt Hilton in the center, and Devin Cassidy on the right. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome. Thank you for having us.
Oh, this is going to be awesome. We've got all kinds of questions to go over. Now, we solicited questions from you guys, the viewers, on the website, on Twitter, everywhere you would ask, and I put some rules on there, one of them being this is the community team, not the dev team. But we still got dev-related questions anyway. Guys, we had to throw those ones out. This isn't the team to answer those ones. We're here with the community team. We're going to talk about Final Fantasy XIV and the community and what these guys do. But first, I think we should probably get into some introductions. I mean, we've seen your guys' names on the forums all over the place, and maybe a tweet here and there, but what do you guys actually do? Who's got what title? And Robert, if you want to start, we'll just go from the left on there.
All right, sounds good. I am the online community manager. My name is Robert Peeler. You may have seen me post on the forums as Hiviner, the little cactar running away. Is that how you pronounce it? It is Hiviner. There's no doubt or question in anybody's mind, so maybe these two guys.
I have never pronounced it right.
I've never pronounced it right.
Honestly, I do check it before I copy it.
Yeah, because
I've never typed it right,
correct?
ever.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's who I am. Then to my left here is person to introduce himself.
Hi, this is Matt Hilton. You may know me as Bayonne on the forums. My title is Senior Online Community Manager for Final Fantasy XIV.
Does it fit on a business card?
Yeah, it's abbreviated. I guess we'll go into our duties after. I'll let Devin introduce himself.
So I'm Devin Cassidy, also known as Kamate. I know there's a lot of butchering of that name as well.
It's like Kamate.
Kamate.
I call it
Kamate or Kami. Oh, I guess it's
Kami.
Yeah.
I call you Cammy.
True. But I am the online community manager, so I help support these guys.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And yeah, the only reason that I knew how to pronounce Roberts is because he told me after an episode where I really butchered it. He made sure to reach out and correct that.
I just have to get through everybody who plays this game and tell them personally what the pronunciation of my name is, and we'll be all good.
So we're all used to, I think, we're used to community managers responding to things on the forums, and, you know, Bayonne does the translations for the live letter, the official questions. We see those being posted. Oh.
Don't worry. I'm down. All right.
I think I might have just caused a rift inadvertently. But we see your names all over the forums, but what actually do each of you do as far as everything else besides just the forum work and going through and reading all of our QQs?
Yeah, I guess I'll start off. I'll kind of give just a basic overview. Of course, we all have specialties, but when it comes to the community team, we all kind of do a little bit of everything. So I guess, as you guys know, the forum is one of the most important roles. It's up to us to read through the copious amounts of forum threads and feedback and to compile dev team reports. We do that on a daily basis. We actually do a report each day. We also do a weekly report which kind of summarizes the most important topics. We do a lot of scouring the internet, I guess you could say, for community feedback wherever it is. It's not just on the official forums. I'm sure a lot of you guys know, just like here, we have Reddit and things like that. Twitter is also another big place that we're active, and kind of trying to find the information wherever it is so that we can make sure the dev team is getting a whole picture and not just like, oh, here's one segment of the community.
We're FF14 omnipresence. Everywhere you want
That's
to
what
be.
we call it. But there's that aspect. So the reporting is very important, but there's also things that we do like handling the developers blog. I write those working with our team in Japan. The ever elusive project manager M is who I work with to do those. But when it comes to actually naming the blog, it's actually a joint effort from the team.
That's the best time right there.
It's the best time, and it's also the worst time.
I like your choice of the word effort when it's more like competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So usually what we do is we'll have, put up the blog post, and we'll say, okay, we need a title. And that's when our friendships evolve into competitions. We try to think of really fun titles, and sometimes we don't always agree, but we try to choose the best one.
Thanks for some awkward lunches afterwards. These aren't quite the same.
I mean, I won't get into the fact that Dancing Mad should have been called So You Think You Can / Dance, because I think that title is perfect, but it's fine, Dancing Mad.
I do not believe his retelling of the history of this activity is not always accurate.
I don't think it was majority. I think it was majority.
It's got a selective memory thing going on.
For sure, that's absolutely true.
That's not how I remember it. But in addition to that, we also do a lot of the in-game events, planning for contests and things like that, like the screenshot contests. A lot of the live event planning, so E3 or the FF14 launch event we did last year at PAX Prime. We spent a lot of time planning that stuff out. Same thing with supporting live events for media. Sometimes we have media tours where we go and show the game, like the recent FF14 PS4 media tour we did in San Francisco. San Francisco.
Yeah.
It's so long. So we do a lot of that stuff, a lot of that planning and support. We also work closely with our marketing and PR teams to make sure that we're all aligned in the same goals and everything kind of matches and meshes well. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I have nothing to add after that. Late.
But no, let's talk about. So in addition to daily reporting, I know Robert handles a lot of event-related stuff. We can kind of tease a little bit about that. Can you tell him a little bit about the things that you handle?
So I've been planning basically
events.
all the activities and arranging the setup and the logistics, I guess you could say, of an upcoming interesting activity event that we will. All right, I'm done.
And
and 5 minutes in, stop. You're giving away things.
That's one topic. Let's also now go back to kind of what you mentioned earlier about the translation. Actually,
inaccurately mentioned earlier.
While everybody kind of shares, all these duties and stuff that we do, well, or do everything for Matt.
Takes the credit. That's what the senior is for.
Yeah. So like you mentioned, we all kind of have our specialties, and mine is the bilingual support. So I'm pretty much the person that's translating all the stuff from Japanese to English or English to Japanese for the team, whether that's emails or everybody's feedback or the letter from the producer live, all that stuff. Pretty much, I'm sitting there translating, getting that stuff out to you guys.
Oh, and Matt's just snaking the credit on the forums. Now, see, now I feel bad because, in every live letter write-up that I do, I've always thanked, the unofficial translations through Reinhardt and then the official translators through Matt.
Keep doing that. That's fine. He doesn't need to be recognized.
I think Devin watches those and he's like, oh.
He prefers to remain on the side in the shadows.
I finished translating. I'm like, oh, great job, Matt.
Great translation.
Well, we have a ton of questions that viewers submitted, and then Happy and we threw ours in the bunch and everything. And obviously, guys, we can't get through every single question. There just isn't enough time. So we wanted to focus with the community team on as many community-related events and questions as we could. Obviously, we all want to know what primals are going to be coming up in the game, what's going to be in 2.3, what's going to be in 2.4. But yeah, we're not talking to the devs. That's a future episode. That'd be nice if they're certainly welcome. I want to focus on community here today. And you guys, outside of Final Fantasy XIV, are clearly, from some of the tweets I've seen from you guys over time, clearly Final Fantasy fans. Let's get the resumes correct. Have you all played every single numbered edition like the rest of us?
That's how it goes to me. I've done that.
He's so much better than us.
Oh, just a little bit.
You've played every single main Final Fantasy. I think the
I
only
played every
one.
single side of Final Fantasy. Let's get that.
I mean, if you make a list.
You want to do this?
I don't know
We'll make a list.
I think there's only the only one I haven't played is Final Fantasy II, like the original NES Final Fantasy II version. I think that's the only one I haven't played.
Did you play the PlayStation release
No,
or the iOS release?
Origins? No, I didn't.
So
I've never played. Well, I guess to clarify, any Final Fantasy version I've never played.
Robert is not making this easy. He's like, okay, I get why you didn't play it on the NES, but it was released 9 times after that.
PSP version, there's a PSP version.
But yeah, I think that's the only one I haven't played. I think I've played every single other game.
Yeah, I haven't played 2, and I never played 8. Rather, I played a tiny bit of 8, and I don't know, I just couldn't get into it at that time of my life.
It's that draw system.
So busy,
I don't know.
so full of drama.
I can't believe you didn't play 8.
Maybe I'll give it another shot. Maybe
You
when the
will.
time is right.
It's out on Steam now. You can download it.
Junction.
I'll try.
Drawing.
Well, what about non-numbered titles? I mean, you guys gotta have played some of the other ones too, like Tactics, Crystal Chronicles. Has anybody can safely say they've played almost every console Final Fantasy? Anybody hold that title? Because that's a tough one.
That would be tough. I don't think so.
Every console Final Fantasy?
I mean every just mainstream console one?
Like Crystal Chronicles, Tactics. You know, it doesn't have to be advanced or anything.
Like it's fine.
I was
It was on a QA for
I
that.
didn't play that. Sorry.
He's busy translating. It's okay.
Crystal Chronicles.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Great game.
We're going to have to talk after this.
get a little get together and play them together. So,
EAs and everything.
what about if all those Final Fantasies you played, you gotta have a favorite moment, anything that stands out in your memory. Don't say lightning bolts, please.
Right?
Man, favorite moment, that's tough. You want to go for? I'll think about it.
Let Devin think of something from his brief playthrough of Final Fantasy VIII. I love that intro. It's fantastic. It's
Intro
really
is
good.
awesome for FF8, actually.
I guess, honestly, of all the, Final Fantasy experience, I played 11 for the longest amount of time, so that's kind of the biggest, experience I've had with any of those games. So I guess my favorite moment would have to come from that game, and just when Chains of Prometheus came out, really trying to get through the Promethean battles and stuff like that, slamming my head against my desk, trying to get through my group. But those memories are great, and everything from that game, all the friends I met, saw that, is really kind of nostalgic. Even now, I'm thinking, oh man, those times were really great.
I can say in general, I agree with that in terms of Final Fantasy XI. Those Promethean battles were really memorable, like trying to figure out all the strategies in each level. It's really great. But there's others too. I mean, do you have any other Final Fantasy favorite moments?
Non-online.
Yeah, I probably
Like Friendship.
from Final Fantasy IX, Ozma fight. Me and my friends.
Oh no, not
Two
Ozma.
of my buddies just sat in my room trying to beat it for like the whole night, and it was just craziness. And we finally did it, and it felt so good to finally get them down. Oh, man, it was...
Well, you guys mentioned Final Fantasy XI. Were any of you, I know that there's been some crossover there, were any of you part of the 11 community team?
Oh yeah, I mean, actually, the way, just to give you some background, actually, the way it works is we're not really very specific to any title, so we all work on FF11 as well, the FF11 community team. I guess
Actively,
you could say
now.
actively, yes.
Currently.
So we're still, represented there, and we're still posting on the forums and handling all that stuff. So it's still really a major part of our lives and our collective experiences too. I mean, FF11 I've been playing since when it came out in Japan on PS2. Like
crazy.
Yeah, we were doing like testing for it like way back in the day, and I played the Japanese version before there was any English, and it was like I had like this macro I made where I learned enough Japanese to be able to say, hello, I'm American, I don't speak any Japanese, I'll do my best, like, in Japanese, and I would hit that every time. And, like, people didn't believe that, like, that I didn't speak Japanese because I had that macro. But that's, yeah, so we're still really involved in FF11. We're still
Very much.
very active. Devin is a hardcore FF11 fan still, and we're all still working on it every day.
All right, well,
I don't think I answered mine. Did you?
Your favorite
moment. Favorite moment. Actually, I started working here at 2001 on Final Fantasy X. Was like my first title at the company, and I was a tester. So that's like, the low level, the guys who do all the grunt work and find all the fun bugs.
You shouldn't say low level. They're top tier in our minds.
Some of our guys are pretty awesome. They find some of the crazy stuff. Like, we have people who are just like, yeah, I broke the game. I figured out this calculation. It's like, how did you even do that? But FF10 is probably one of my favorites because of all those memories I have from not only playing it, but from testing as well. Like sitting in our QA area, and like when people are doing the lightning dodges, you would basically, instinctively, like, don't talk to them or don't look in their direction because you don't want to be the one that, like,
think about them.
Ruins their groove. And I mean, I had a lot of good friendships and memories from FF10. So, like, not even the game itself, but also just that time. It makes FF10 like cemented in my mind as like one of my favorite, Final Fantasy.
Friendships on till today, right?
Yeah, a lot of friends with those guys.
well, now that we've gone over some of your favorite moments, let's start the internet flame war. Excluding Final Fantasy XIV, what's your favorite entry in the series and why?
I'll go first.
Number.
Let's take the number just to make it
Clear.
simpler.
All right.
Sorry, you were.
I knew you were
gonna say that.
I thought he was gonna say 8.
yeah.
Hey, again, that intro really emotionally
The
drew.
intro was amazing.
I would say I kind of put it a tie between two of them. Sorry, you want me to pick one? I'll pick two. Breaking the rules.
We have one rule.
I would say one of them is definitely 11. Simply because, like Matt, I was also on the testing team for Final Fantasy XI, and I have a lot of history playing that game, long hours every day, and like just exploring content before it came out publicly to the regular player base, and just really finding some amazing things. I remember the first time I climbed Paradigm Tour was just amazing. I made my own little walkthrough to get through it, and just in general the storyline and the characters and just the gameplay itself, the whole game, the whole package is really a phenomenal entry, I think, in the series. And then the second one, this would be before I even joined the company. I think for the longest time, my favorite one was Final Fantasy VI. I think a lot of players will agree with me on that one. I played 7, 8, 9, and 10, but Final Fantasy VI just had that awesome cast and a really beautiful aesthetic for this world that they created. And definitely one of my favorites. So those two together, one non-online game, one online game, I think make up probably the best titles in the series.
I can at least agree with 6. So there we go. Awesome.
Yes, absolutely. 6 is my favorite too.
I'm gonna say FF7 is probably my favorite. I think that was probably the one that, not the one I came into the series with, but one of the ones that I would say I obsessed over. Like that's the title that I did all the research, like all the game magazines at the time. Looking at every screenshot. I would stay with my grandparents out in Tennessee, and there was nothing to do out in Tennessee during the summers. So I taught myself. There's not really a lot of stuff now. It's just, when I was there. The internet was, big, and that's why I taught myself like how to make web pages. I made like a Final Fantasy VII web page, and like I was.
Is it still up? I want to find it.
GeoCities.
It's
like
a
the web archive. Matt's FF7 website. Yeah, I love that game. Like when I played the demo, like that came with Tobal for like a million times. So like when I got the actual game, and you had to play that same intro that you have in the demo. I was like, I just want to get past this and see the game. But yeah, FF7 is probably like one of the ones that I'd say is one of my favorite games.
Yeah, it's pretty tough, but I'm sure I've gotten in arguments with my friends about this too. But I like 10 the best. Probably that's the game that I played the most, like just over and over again, just multiple times, running through the whole game. And when I played it back in college, when I was a freshman, you know, didn't have that much money, so I didn't actually buy the game. I rented it from Blockbuster, and I just sat there and I skipped class. I gave it like 2 days, just going hardcore. I kind of finished it before I got to bring it back, and I actually got stuck on the very last boss because I didn't have time, you know, to do the grind and get all, you know, everything at that time. So I was like, oh my god, like I have to beat this last guy in like a couple hours to take it back. I didn't want to be late. I was, you know, you worry about those things. You worry about those things.
So apparently that's how you get the job. You cut school, and then you play the game for extended periods of time.
Your cover letter. Perfect. Good chance.
I had one class. It was a calculus class. It was fine. But anyway, so actually I had to eventually buy the game so I could finish it. But yeah,
Happy, you number 6?
Oh, I'm absolutely number 6.
Okay, good. That's why we get along so well. Whew. All right, I guess.
I don't want to say
we're being judged.
You know, we were talking before.
We
were talking before about what games, what Final Fantasies we've all beaten. You know, I love 6. Beaten it multiple times. How many times have you beaten Final Fantasy 6, Matt?
So what's you guys want to move on to the next question, or?
I guess we should start covering some Final Fantasy XIV stuff. That's what everybody in chat's here for.
There we go.
Sure.
They sent their questions, so you know, and we appreciate it, guys. Again, definitely kudos, and thank you so much for sending in your questions. It's what makes special episodes like this extra specials when the questions come from people watching the show. We talked earlier about the working on the forums and wading through the forums and the internet to get player feedback to send to the dev team. I want to know if you could take me through just a little bit of how do you actually do that? Because I QQ an awful lot on the forums, particularly right now about Atma, which you guys got to fix my drop rate. It's getting freaking ridiculous. I QQ an awful lot about Atma and other things like that. How do you guys wade through and find, you know, this is solid feedback the dev team needs to know, and this is Magic Man just QQing again?
Well, first of all, we read everything.
Yeah.
So
that's the first step. Is you need to be able to read it all, just to, I guess, create like a baseline so you have an idea of who is saying what, you know, where.
I would say, in terms of just what people are saying in general, almost no one's feedback is considered not worth putting in the report to some degree. We want everybody's opinion to be heard, so that the dev team has a good idea of what pretty much players from all walks of life think.
Yeah, we see. I mean, we see a lot on the forums. You know, a lot of people give feedback like, how would you say it? Very matter-of-factly, I guess I would say. Like, hey, everybody agrees with me. Here's what needs to change.
They're quite sure of themselves.
Everybody is saying this, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, for us, it's actually, every player is pretty different. What some people really consider major, you know, major concerns or major problems or major suggestions, you know, sometimes the other players have no insight into that whatsoever, have no opinion on that whatsoever. And I think that's probably the most difficult part, is just trying to figure out types of backgrounds of people, see where they're coming from, and actually trying to extrapolate basically what their actual feedback is. Because a lot of times, you know, feedback is very emotional. So it's really a matter of us figuring out exactly what the concern is so that we can present it best to the dev team. And I don't envy the dev team, because I think that their next step is to figure out exactly what the feedback is. Because sometimes a lot of the feedback is very not unfocused or not wordy, but just it may not actually hit the problem.
Yeah, they want to explain to you what result they want,
or what they want to see changed, or what suggestion that they want the dev team to implement, as opposed to what they have a problem with. So I think that's our first step, is just being able to take what's the actual issue and kind of create it into a report format. But like Robert said, it's just a matter of reading everything so that we have a wider idea of what the entire player base is trying to say. Because
part of that is not just reading the forums, and I just mentioned before, we read lots of places outside the forums as well, because there's a certain kind of player that typically will respond on the official forums or create a thread, and sometimes a very different kind of player may be reluctant to post there, but will post somewhere else. Maybe they like the format of Twitter or Facebook, or that's simply where their interest lies, or their community lies, their fellow players.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're more interested in posting on somewhere like Reddit, or maybe they produce videos on every subject that you could possibly imagine on a regular basis, like someone we might know. So, there's a lot of ways that we interpret feedback and bring it from the players' voices to the dev team, and we take into account not just the format of which they express their opinion, but the kind of questions they ask as well. So not just, maybe they'll give a suggestion, or maybe they'll ask a question because they want further clarification on a certain subject. So it's not just they have an idea of what they want implemented, but more they want to know what the dev team had in mind around a certain feature so that they can better understand it. And maybe that's enough for them, or maybe then they can follow up with a suggestion of how to make it better from their point of view. So that's typically how it works. Yeah. We're trying to be as open as possible.
Very cool. If you could maybe speak up just a little bit. There's a couple people in chat that are having a hard time with the back and forth. I know we're kind of limited with a conference room here, but we can do the best we can. Chat. Sorry, it's a conference room with a bunch of people in it.
But anyway, now that we've gone over more of what you do, taking feedback, you guys do come up with some things on your own for the forums. One big thing is community events, and I really want to know how you guys get together and plan all that out, because whenever I see one pop up, I always think of how I would never think to do a community event like this. So I'm really intrigued to know how you guys come together and plan those out.
Them, or you do like
No, I do like them, but I don't know. I don't have the, I guess, originality to come up with a lot of those, like those ideas for a big event. So
It's a lot of fun.
So I guess for the community events, I think I'm sure everybody's familiar with the screenshot contests. What we usually do is we kind of talk with our other counterparts in Japan and Europe. So basically for large, full-scale events like that, we do it globally. Something we try to strive for is that for each, at least each in-game event, we try to at least have a screenshot contest attached to it. One of the reasons that we do a lot of screenshot contests is it allows people who may not have, the artistic ability or other very unique sets of skills, the ability to enter the contest and have a chance to win some of the exclusive in-game items that we give away. So that's one of the things we do. The screenshot contests are really, a collaborative effort. Like, hey, what should we make the theme? What should we have players, focus on, things like that. But what we have been doing and what we've been planning for the future is trying to branch out a bit more beyond just the screenshot contest. We definitely want the screenshot contest to continue because, like I said, it gives people a lot of chance to win these awesome prizes. But at the same time, we want to be able to make more interesting and unique giveaways and contests that aren't maybe necessarily limited to the forums or limited to screenshot contests. But you may be familiar with some of our older events where we did like the dub.
That was great. I love the dub contest.
I don't like our entry for the dub contest.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what we're trying to do now. So it's really a fun collaborative process. Basically, we huddle together. We kind of look at the roadmap of what's coming out and what's hitting when, and we try to think of something that would fit, artistically, I guess.
And not just for that, but also kind of what he was suggesting when he said earlier is that a lot of it is goal oriented. So, for instance, we want for the screenshot contest to be able to get the prize out to as many people as possible. We want to make it an easy barrier of entry in order to submit to the contest. And some contests are more narrowly defined to those with special skills, like you mentioned people with art skills. We definitely want to reward and celebrate those with particular talents and a passion for the game that they're kind of expressed in their medium. So we definitely do more of those in the future, and we've always enjoyed them in the past. I did want to say, not just outside of those, but like even the screenshot contest, that one idea you came up with for the Halloween one, with the doppelgangers. Oh. I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
I thought that was really clever.
That was fun.
He thought it was referring to something.
No. Don't talk about Halloween.
He's really scared about this.
Anyway, the doppelganger contest was really awesome. That was really good. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, it turned out really well. And I love actually even showing off all the photos that people have of of the screenshot content back on our Facebook or announcing the winner on the forums, because it's really great seeing all other people celebrate and say like, oh yeah, that was an amazing screenshot. The competition was really good, and the technique about taking a shot from way up high or taking a shot from an angle or peering through the trees or something like that was a really interesting look.
People do a lot of really creative stuff with just a screenshot. That's pretty cool.
And
we have definitely a few discussions about who should be the winner, but you know.
Yeah, there's some pretty heated debates sometimes.
Not unlike those titles for blogs.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it can be, yeah.
We're gonna jump around here. I mean, we've got questions. We're trying to cover a broad range of topics. So, with that in mind, I want to ask you guys about something that it's an issue in Final Fantasy XIV, but it's an issue in every MMORPG or MMO that's out there, and that's real money trading or gil selling, gold selling, whatever it is. And we've seen some dev updates over the course of the last few patches with the right-click blacklist and things like that. But from your side, the community side, how can we as players help you guys with this issue? And is there anything we can do to help kind of curb this or get it a little under control? Because it's an issue everywhere. What can we do to help you guys?
Well, first, if you do see any of them, report them immediately. That's pretty much the most important thing you can do.
Absolutely.
Is to make sure, as soon as you see them, report them. Or if you know anybody that's partaking in that stuff, report them. The second biggest thing is, make sure to tell your friends. Make sure you don't get involved in that stuff, because basically those skill sellers are around because, people want them.
Yeah.
So the less people that want them, less people that partake in that stuff, eventually they'll kind of fizzle out. But the biggest thing is, supporting them makes their business bigger. So
we can do our best to eliminate the sellers and the source of various aspects of RMT activities. But if there's a market, they'll kind of always exist to some degree. So it's much better that the players take it upon themselves and they're like, I don't need to participate in that. I can join up with my friend company. They can help me, earn gil. They can help me pass this content and earn my weapons. And that's the game anyway, right? So it's important people do that.
Another thing I want to point out, we also have a way to report on the support center. I think it's also an easy way to do it out of the game too. But I know a lot of people have been asking for a way to report easier, so that's something we continue to talk about with the dev team, and we'll keep talking about it. I mean, we often see a lot of player responses like, oh, they're not banning these RMTs or they're not doing anything about it. Well, it's a very serious process, because you got to make sure you're getting the right people and you're trying to find out where they're coming from and things like that. So it may take some time, but it's definitely, if you've seen our, every other week report we do for how many accounts were suspended or banned for RMT, it's definitely happening. It may not be as fast as you expect it to be, but it's definitely because of your help that we're able to get these guys out of the game. So as long as you're able to report it, we'll be able to take care of it as fast as we can.
And it's a tireless effort. We're not going to stop until it's completely eradicated, and even then we'll be vigilant and make sure it doesn't come back.
All right, well, let's talk about something a little bit more fun. You guys are working very hard on that because RMT are not fun. Let's talk about fun. Now, one thing I gotta know. We heard about a Final Fantasy XIV fan festival a while ago.
Oh,
we're gonna hear a little bit more about it.
Here we go with Happy Brand.
Listen, Magic Man. As Hildebrand's official representative,
what?
I need to know these things. I need to know these things.
You're his agent now, for crying out loud.
I'm the agent of the agent. Okay?
Fan event, huh? Well, we have announced that it will be sometime, we're aiming for a fall, autumn time frame. I believe we've kind of touched on it earlier in the show, but Robert is working on something for some things.
Something for some things.
Something
I like
for
that
things.
detail.
That's on his business card.
That's what you do.
But I think we have announcements coming up actually kind of soon. I think, if I'm remembering the dates correctly. So I will use the Yoshi P. Please look forward to it, and I will just keep an eye out. And we'll be getting some details sometime soon.
Yeah.
And as we get closer to that time frame, I think we'll be hearing more details. I would imagine something coming soon will be.
We have no intention of keeping you in the dark forever, just for now.
Just for now.
I'll pass that along.
Okay.
Devin, maybe
Here's the thing.
maybe you're the best one to answer this, being the translator here of the team. What are some of those challenges between English and Japanese, and try and what kind of lessons have you guys learned over time with translating the patch notes, translating the live letter, things getting lost in translation? That's got to be pretty challenging for you, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest thing is really the nuance between the languages and stuff like that. You know, we can't always translate stuff one-to-one. A lot of the words don't necessarily, or phrases don't carry over necessarily like everyone that says, you know, please look forward to it, stuff like that. So,
Yeah, I think please look forward to it. It's like a very,
It's a good example.
it's a good example of something that's just very natural and
Yeah.
normal in Japanese,
but
but
it sounds kind of,
every time you say it in English, it has like a different, I don't know, it has a different feeling, different meaning.
but so that's one thing, is kind of really to translate, not just translate, but actually, you know, localize all the messages and stuff like that into a form that can be digested by, you know, the English community. Because if you are just translating one-to-one, it doesn't sound very natural. It comes off as kind of robotic and stuff like that. So it's, yeah, it's kind of tricky sometimes to, you know, really mold it and make it sound nice. But that's something that we try to do. And sometimes, you know, I have the occasional, you know, mistake of coming off as robotic because I'm translating, you know, 1,000 things. But overall, you know, we're trying to strive to make it nice, smooth, easy to read.
Don't sell yourself short. You do nice work. I really think that Devin does a fantastic job.
But well, thank you. Thanks. It's all Matt, really. But,
Let's let them have
That's
it.
what I was thinking the whole time.
we were talking about, and you know, we were talking about the letter live stuff too, and that's, you know, we're coming in at, you know, 3 a.m., 2 a.m. a lot of times, and you know, you got to be up, awake, and on to translate that stuff, you know, on the fly. So, you know, during those times, as I'm sure you guys have all seen during the letters, it's like, you know, Yoshida, he's giving all this new information, and you know, we're kind of briefed. We know generally what's going to be said, but there are times that, you know, he goes off and he does his own thing, you know, and just starts going on and on about all this new stuff that's coming out, and I'm like, I don't know, he's what he's talking about. So there's a lot of tentative terms and stuff like that, and we're trying to translate, you know, all this brand new stuff, and it's pretty tough to, you know, make sure that's accurate. You know, is that what he's saying, or is this real?
Our own personal frustrations confirm to you that this is truly a live show, and that there's a lot of stuff that's
It is very live.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you know, I'm translating this stuff very quick in that sense, and Matt, who's gonna touch it up, tweet it, and all that stuff, and he's like, you know, are you sure this is what he said? I'm like, yeah, straight from him. So yeah, it's kind of tricky, especially when it's that early, and you know, we're armed with our coffee and energy drinks and going crazy.
Everybody in chat just started saying hi.
Hi.
So, hi. There you go.
Well, in all the translating work that you do, you got to work with the big man himself, Yoshi P. What's it like?
Oh man, he's a cool dude. That is 100% sure.
I think that's on his business card. It's cool.
Yeah, that producer, cool dude / cool dude. Yeah, he's really fun.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, like Devin said, he's super energetic.
Yeah.
It makes you feel energetic when you're around him, when you're working with stuff. I mean, like I said, for the FF14 PS4 media tour, it's like we did the full day events, and like he did interviews all day, and then after that was over and everybody had gone home, he's like, okay, let's fight Titan on the Vita. So we all like got in a party and like tried hard mode Titan on the Vita, and it's really fun because you don't feel like overwhelmed, and he really makes sure to, you know, get everybody excited around him. It's really cool. It's a really fun thing.
He's down to earth, and you know, he's a huge MMO fan, so it's really cool to talk to him about games, you know, especially 14. Also at the 14 event that Matt was just talking about, you know, we were all setting up and there was kind of some free time, and he's sitting there in a dungeon, you know, live. And it's like, what are you doing? And it's like, oh, man's got to get his minutes. So.
Well, we've got more questions to get to, but before we can get to that, I want to talk to you about our sponsor here, and that would be Audible. For a free 30-day trial, you can head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker. We're going to give you 30 free days, free a free audiobook. Audible's been a sponsor of ours for a long time. Love having them here. Very easy service to use on your Kindle or any of your reading devices. No Final Fantasy books on here yet, but if you're a fan of fantasy, then you probably know R.A. Salvatore, and there is an entire library of the man's work here that you can get. A lot of them are Whisper Sync ready. Cool feature if you have a book on Kindle and you have it on Audible. Great little app so that you can sit there and read on your Kindle, and when you got to go make dinner, hit play and Audible will pick up right where you were. Hit stop, and you can immediately start reading again. No need to set down a good book, and some of these voiceovers are just incredible. Let's play a little sample for you.
Dwavil Tiggerwillies tiptoed into the small, dimly lit room in the back of the lower end of her establishment, the Copper Ante. Dwavil, that most competent of halfling females, good with her wiles, good with her daggers, and better with her wits, wasn't used to walking so gingerly in this place, though it was as secure a house as could be found in all of Calimport. This was Artemis Entreri, after all, and no place in all the world could truly be considered safe when the deadly assassin was about.
Very cool. If you want to take advantage of free service, you get a free month and a free book just by using that URL right there. Audible.com/Gamebreaker. Best way to support Gamebreaker is to support our sponsors, and happy to have Audible. They've been with us a long time, so check it out. All right, let's get back to some of these questions. We just talked about Yoshi P. Let's talk about the game itself a little more. 2.2 came out a few weeks ago. Second Binding Coil of Bahamut came out turns 6, 7, 8, and 9. As community members, anybody surprised that free companies are already in turn 9 this quickly?
What's turn 9?
Yeah.
You mean the second binding of the second coil of Bahamut, turn 1, 2, 3, and 4?
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. Turn 4 of the second Binding Coil of Bahamut.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not too shocked as a player, and probably even as a community team member. I pretty much expect some of our super hardcore guys to be there already. I think the question now is going to be how long are they on that last turn is the big question. Let's see how long it takes them, I guess. I know our group is now only starting off turn 6 or turn 1 as it's officially. As it is officially.
2-1. 2-1.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think the big question now is how long is it going to take to down whatever is there? Not spoiling anything.
Yeah, for people
All right. Well, moving a little bit back away from the game, got a few things. It's still about the game, kind of. But are there any more tools to help manage our own communities? I mean, I have communities on Facebook and Twitter, but in the game, there's things like it's hard to tell who's been active in the Link Show lately, and also still having to be online for players in order to invite them to the free company. Is there any sort of tools that are going to be added to help alleviate these kind of issues?
I mean, anything that comes to community, I think we're all definitely on board for. I think we've been getting that feedback a lot of the same kind of stuff that you mentioned, and I know we've forwarded that to the dev team, so it's definitely going to be a matter of us pushing for more community tools. Because when it comes to community, we're all for, like, hey, what else can we do to make it easier for you guys, the players, to be able to handle that? So it's something that we've been talking about and we'll continue to talk about. It's just a matter of making it happen, I guess. So that's going to be our next step, is just keep talking about it. And then, it always helps if you guys post about it on the forum. It helps us to give, really concrete, solid examples. So
That goes right into the reports, daily and weekly, send that information out.
On the kind of free company and management topic, are there any plans to add the RSS feed back into the Lodestone? I know it's part of the original Lodestone. It's part of the dev blog. Dev blog currently has it. Lodestone 1.0 did. Any plans to put that back into the existing Lodestone?
I think the plan has definitely been discussed. Because as you said, it's super important for like free company sites or player sites to be able to siphon that stuff in.
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of them probably prioritizing other stuff that they've been working on, but it's definitely not something that we've forgotten about, because we have gotten this request a few times, and I've gotten tweets quite a few times on it before too.
Feel free to send them more.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's definitely something we'll keep pushing those guys and saying, hey, don't forget where you need to start working on this stuff now. Definitely now that maybe some other higher priority stuff is out of the way, we can start working to get that back implemented.
That would be sweet. XIV Nation would definitely love to jump on that again.
Yeah, so while we're talking about the lodestone and the forums and all that, one thing you guys know I love are the live letters, which are a huge thing on the forums. When you're asking questions, because I love to ask a few questions every time a new live letter comes out.
A few? I've seen the question posts. You ask more than a few, Happy.
Enough to make a video about it. About how long do we usually have, really, to ask those questions and, you know, feel like we have a real shot at getting that question into the live letter?
So, are you referring to how, like, long it needs to be up on the forum thread, or how, like, early?
Just before the event actually starts. Like, when is it when you're like, all right, that's it, we're done, that's it, no more, we need to take something now?
The forums, if you're saying it like just in the threads that we create for asking questions or subjects, or even in, like, I've even seen, you know, when the actual when the letter of producer live goes up, you know, players build a thread following what's going on, and sometimes they'll ask questions within there. If you're posting in those forum threads, we will pull questions from those threads while the show is going live. So it's all the way through to the end of the show, and then after the show ends is usually when we close those threads. So all the way up until the very end, we're considering questions from those threads. And if you're posting it on Twitter, which, you know, Matt will tweet about, like, each subject as it shows up, usually that's an indication. Basically, he's trying to help you guys out. He's trying to give you a key to the subject that are discussing. Not disgusting. So when he does that, if you post your question on the forum around that timing, or if we see one from the forum on that timing, or if you post it on Twitter, that's a good chance for it to actually be asked live. Because the difficulty is that because it's in Japanese, we have to have that question submitted and translated. And so he tries to tell you the topic in advance of it going live. Doing that, I'm just trying to get a little more words here. Doing that makes it easier for them to incorporate your question into the discussion. It's harder if it's, say, 2 subjects ahead. You ask about, you know, the newest endgame raid content, and they're talking about, you know, the glamour feature. Okay, so it's harder for them to talk about endgame raiding when they're talking about glamour features, when they just talk about 2 subjects in advance of that. So try to stick to the topic that's going on. Same for forums, stick to the topic, and it's a much better chance that we'll be able to pull your question. I would say, just another bit of advice.
Thank you.
Try to avoid asking questions that have been asked.
Yeah, I think that's something we see a lot. So maybe sometimes people are like, well, they didn't answer my question. And we're like, well, we already answered that question.
Well, believe it, it'll be asked in the previous, you know, show, or it's been answered on the forums, maybe even. And, you know, because you ask questions on the forums, we take that feedback and we submit it to the dev team.
Yeah. And
if we answer it, asking it again on the live show is not necessarily going to make it more clear or add answers to it. It's definitely possible, but it's more likely if it's a brand new question directly related to the topic at hand while it's going on that he tweets about, much better chance of getting a question.
Wow, I didn't expect that at all. I thought there would have been like a cutoff time, like a day before the live letter that, okay, anything after this, we got to write down what we're going to take. So anything after this is gone. You're telling us that if we're on topic tweeting during the live letter, there's still a chance those questions could be used?
Absolutely. In fact, just talking about the setup, like, for instance, he's doing the translation. He's doing all the bulk of the translation work here. Matt is doing a fair amount of editing and making sure that stuff goes back on the forums, as well as tweeting the topics as they go live, or even just before they do. And what I'm doing the whole time is I'm pulling the questions out and submitting that to the team for consideration. And my setup is 2 widescreen monitors with, like, 4, you know, programs open at once. It's got the shows that's going on live. It has forum threads in multiple tabs. It has a dashboard for Twitter in multiple keywords of searching, as well as the, you know, hashtag XIV Live and things like that. It has a guideline of all the questions being asked, and an IRC direct to the actual team that's submitting the questions to, you know, Ruko, who's answering or posing them to Yoshida on the show. So
very intricate.
I'm pulling it all live at the same time that you guys are asking it, please stay on topic. Please try to get them in as quickly as possible during the show, and we'll make sure to try to set them up to the team.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's
I appreciate
impressive.
that.
Now you've just committed yourself to getting 900 more questions from Mr. Happy because he knows while he's watching the live that there's still a chance.
I mean that's exactly. I want to see more questions on topic because I want to see a representation of North American perspectives, feelings, and questions going to the team while it's going on. Even if it's in Japanese, we're doing our best to relay that information to you guys in real time, and the best way to do that is to follow Matt's tweets and post on topic, and we'll make sure to get that to the team.
Matt, we see this a little bit in your dev blog when you're teasing some things maybe we don't have access to and you give us a screenshot or two of certain things. You guys, obviously, the nature of your position, you get access to things that aren't be able to be released to the general public yet. That's kind of gotta suck to sit on that and be hush-hush. I can't imagine that's a very awesome part of your job, having something awesome and not being able to tell anybody about it.
That's plus and minuses.
It's definitely pluses and minuses for sure.
So one example, I think I tweeted about this a while back, but you know, watching you guys show and listening to you guys speculate about different stuff, it's really funny because you know we know all the information, and we're sitting, you know, listening, hearing you guys talk about, well, maybe it's this, or maybe it's this character, and laughing like, no, no good.
Oh man!
But just to be clear, you guys are always way off. So.
Oh my God. Man, did we just get called out? Let me strike this question real quick.
I'll try harder to be right.
I like listening to it. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's like, oh man, this is what they're thinking. This is the way it's going and stuff like that. But
sometimes we know that going in. We're like, oh, I can't wait to show them a tiny little bit of reveal.
reveal.
Watch them go crazy speculating, but torture.
Yeah, at the same time, it's like we're all fans too. So it's worse because it's like, oh, that's what's gonna happen in the next 5 patches. Okay, well that's really cool. You know,
Nat went to Japan recently and had like a meeting where they kind of.
Yeah, we had a meeting in Japan where we were discussing like marketing and different plans for the year and things like that. And it's just like Yoshida is like laying out all these like story points, and I'm like, can I leave the room? Like, it's really frustrating, but it's cool to hear. Where it's like, well, it's okay. That's a major spoiler for later. Great, thanks.
Matt's huge about spoilers.
I am.
You say anything.
Too much, though. Too much. We start talking about a show, we're like, I don't know, I haven't seen it yet. Just keep quiet. Yeah.
All right. Well, as a content creator on YouTube with Final Fantasy XIV, I've got to wonder, are there any plans to maybe highlight? Because I'm not the only one. There's a lot of great content creators out there, as we even saw in the pre-show. We see maybe more vanity contests related to these kind of things, something maybe I have the creativity to participate in.
I think Mr. Happy's really asking, is there any way you could pimp his stuff?
I just want to have some fun.
To the dev blog. But I mean, like we said earlier, yeah, we're definitely huge fans, of video content, streaming content, and also we want to do a lot more going forward with outside the box screenshot contests. So I think that's definitely something that we'll be looking into in the future. But yeah, it's really important, and we're really big fans of all of our fans out there that take the time to basically, stream and show off the game and show off their love of the game. So it's super important to us. So we'll be looking for different ways we can kind of curate that kind of content.
Now we're running up against the timer here, so I do want to ask: is there anything like any announcements of a Square Enix running event in North America that we can kind of get ready for? Any kind of outreach community thing where we can all meet up and shake hands with the community team? Anything special going on that we can please look forward to?
Well, I mean, of course we have. I guess the next big thing will be E3. That's one example, but of course. The biggest thing this year is the fan event that we're working on with details coming soon, but that's going to be like the major Final Fantasy XIV fan happening thing that's going to be going on. So I would say that's probably your best bet, and that's probably the most fun for us, not only as community team, but as players.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking forward to that from a player's perspective, even though I know I'm going to have to work like 24 hours a day.
You're going to work. You're going to work a lot.
But if I would say that that's probably.
Idea now.
I think that's probably like your best bet. Is wait for some more details for the big fan reveal coming shortly, I guess.
All right,
It'll be exciting.
I've got a few more questions, and if I don't ask these, the viewers are probably going to kill us, Happy. So, but before I do, you may see some names under Mr. Robert Peeler, Mr. Matt Hilton, and Mr. Devin Cassaday. Those are their Twitters. If you want to follow them and read all that, just point down, gentlemen.
There we go. What?
You can follow Mr. Robert Peeler at Popsicle, that's CICLE, Matt Hilton at Mattalos, MATTALOS, and then in an original fashion, Mr. Devin Cassaday is at Devin Cassaday. Members of the XIV community team, awesome to have you here. Again, appreciate the partnership here with Square Enix and making sure this happened, and very cool asking you some questions. But I've got the stingers here, Happy. Are you ready?
I'm ready for the stingers.
Press record here, because these are the questions that everybody wants to know. And I know you're not devs, but I know you've had access to some of this stuff. So before we sign off, when can we expect the first expansion? I mean, it may not have a date yet, but roughly, when are we looking at the first expansion?
Stop blowing punches here.
Wow.
I got to do it. It's my job. You know how it is.
I would say that we should all look forward to it, and no comments. I'm pretty sure Yoshida is probably watching the stream, and if anything is happening...
Where are the snipers?
Yeah, the snipers across the window right there.
They've had unexpected blunders on the live letter before. Come on.
All right. Okay. Maybe that's too much. How about a little piece? One of the questions we get asked every week by a viewer on XIV Reborn is what classes or jobs we think will come with the expansion or before the expansion. Can you maybe give us a little peek? Can I maybe see my red mage? What are we looking at as the first new class or new job?
Puppet Master.
Little conference.
Yeah. No idea. I have no idea. So sorry.
That's a lie.
I have a feeling we've been had, Mr. Happy. All right, okay.
Perhaps.
Okay, even smaller. I'll back off just a little bit more. No expansion talk, no class job talk. Can you at least tell us, yes or no, are we going to be able to go into Ishgard on the expansion? Come on, that's a small piece. You can at least give us that here.
Well, I think we've, held off long enough. Maybe we should just start giving them some kind of information. I think that they've earned it.
Nice.
No, we're just on the Game Breaker stream right now.
Wait, what is that?
That's the camera.
What is this?
Wait, what's... No, he was gonna tell us about...
Okay, well...
Oh, damn, Happy. What happened?
Better check their Twitter, see if they're still employed.
I think we were gonna get it. They were gonna answer.
Come on, it's Ishgard, like... Yoshi P said something about it before, hasn't he? At some point?
Mr. Michael Poveromo, you can follow him on the Twitters at Mr. Happy1227, where he'll be tweeting about all the stuff he's doing on YouTube and Twitch and everything. I'm Mike Byrne, aka Magic Man 1. You can follow me on Twitter at MagicMan1, MAGICKMANN1. Big kudos and thank you to all the viewers that submitted questions for this week's special episode. And of course, thank you as always to Square Enix and the community team for coming on the show, although I wish we wouldn't have lost them there at the end. Them's the breaks. Follow Gamebreaker TV for more XIV news, and until next week, gang, stay safe. We'll see you out on the servers.
Game Breaker TV.